أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings upon all of our respective viewers. Thank you for tuning in to Ahlebait TV. This is obviously the Q&A session. Questions related to Islam. We're here inshallah for just under an hour. So plenty of time for you to get your questions in. Thank you for those questions that we've already received. And inshallah, we'll try our best to get through all of the questions, time permitting, inshallah. The numbers which you can call in or text or send in your WhatsApp should be appearing on your screens throughout the duration of this show. Without any further delay, I take this opportunity on behalf of all of our viewers to welcome our esteemed Islamic scholar to Ahlebait TV, His Eminence Sayyid Muhammad Al-Musawi. Sayyidina, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. We praise Allah as Allah is entitled to be praised, and we salute His most humble servants, Muhammad, and his holy progeny, Ahlul Bayt. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We seek from Allah to grant us more love of Allah and the Prophet and his holy progeny, and more abilities and tawfiq to be on the right path and to be one of the sincere servants of the Prophet and his holy progeny, Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. And we are in fact passing through the last week of the month of Sha'ban, the month of the Prophet of Islam, and the month which prepare or help us to prepare ourselves to be the guests of Allah during the month of Ramadan. In the month of Sha'ban, there are lot of recommended acts, repeating Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad, repeating astaghfirullah wa as'aluhu at-tawbah, repeating la ilaha illallah wa la na'budu illa iyyah mukhlisina lahu ad-din walau kariha al-mushrikun, and giving sadaqah and reciting the salawat of the month of Sha'ban, which are Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad shajarat al-nubuwah, and also reciting the great dua which is called munajat Sha'baniyah, and other good deeds which are being narrated through authentic sources from the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him in his holy progeny. We are being told to repeat in the last days of the month of Sha'ban this short dua: O Allah, if you have not forgiven us in the last days of the month of Sha'ban, so, O Allah, forgive us in the remaining days of it. Allahumma in kunta lam taghfir lana fima mada min shahri Sha'ban faghfir lana fima baqiya min. Also, I would like to remind that to prepare ourselves to the month of Ramadan, which is coming in few days, we have to be sure that no qada fast is still remaining on us. We need to be sure that all the qada fast which was obligatory on us, all has been made and we are now without any debt of obligatory qada fast on us. Also, good to remind those who love the pleasure of Allah and pleasure of Ahlebait that the coming month of Ramadan is the month of every goodness and one of the most important times for the Muslim to do good, especially to do charity. So those who want to do charity, it is nice to make the poor people happy as soon as we can, and we should not delay that. Means if you can help the people whom you want to help in these days, last days of the month of Sha'ban, then they will start their fasting with something. Then they will have some food for themselves and their children when they start fasting after a few days. Be active and hurry up in doing the charity, as we read in Quran that وَفِي ذَلِكَ فَلْيَتَنَافَسِ الْمُتَنَافِسُونَ. In the good deeds, the people should compete. Those who compete should always compete in the good deeds. These are few points to prepare ourselves for being the guests of Allah during the month of Ramadan, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. If a couple finds out that the wife was still in the nikah of someone else, and neither of them knew about this at the time of marriage, and they also have kids with this marriage, then what is the status of such a marriage? Can the lady remarry the husband after getting a divorce from the first one? Are the children with the second marriage halal?
First of all, the proposal which you mentioned, that they came to know that the wife is still under the previous marriage and she was not being divorced in a proper way. When you say that, you have to be sure about it. It is not just a possibility. No. Possibility here does not work. Authentic, concrete evidence works. You have to be 100% sure. Then you put this question. So we just put the question that if a person discovers a fact, not a possibility, a fact that his wife is still under the marriage of someone else and she was not being divorced by the person who was her husband. In this case, the second marriage is invalid. It is invalid if you are 100% sure that she is still under the marriage of someone else. So this second marriage is invalid because the previous marriage is still valid and existing. So both should be separated immediately. She is not his wife. She must be she must deal with him as an outsider. Okay. The first husband should give her a valid divorce. Then she has to go through the iddah of 4 months, for 3 months. The iddah of talaq is 3 months or 3 menstrual circles, 3 menstrual cycles, which is about 3 months or less. After that, will she be allowed to remarry the person who thought that she was unmarried? In this matter, you have to refer to the marja of taqleed. You have to refer to the marja of taqleed that you follow. But the question of the children are legitimate children because both of them, the father and mother, thought that she was divorced, not that she knew that she was not divorced and she went to another marriage. So this relationship is not called zina in Islam, fornication. No, it is called shubha. Shubha means misunderstanding. Shubha. So the children will be legitimate children. And for remarrying, after the passing of the iddah of talaq, she has to, or he has in fact, to refer to the marja of taqleed. Bismillah.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to know, is the following hadith which Ahl Sunnah people recommend is correct, to fast 6 days soon after the month of Ramadan? And if it is correct, then ladies who have missed about 1 week fast, should they fast qadha first before any non-obligatory fast?
Number one, the narration of fasting 6 days immediately after the month of Ramadan is not authentic narration. On the contrary, we have got authentic narrations that it is haram to fast 3 days after the month of Ramadan. Means when the month of Ramadan is over, then first day of Sha'ban is Eid. So Eid day is haram. And also second and third. So 3 days from the month of Shawwal, definitely first day is haram. And the second and third, according to authentic narrations and according to the fatwa of many leading scholars, also not to be, it should not be a day of fasting. So the fasting starts after 3 days from the end of the month of Ramadan. The question about someone who has got qada fast, like the females who fast 5 days, 4 days, 7 days, less or more in the month of Ramadan, not fasting because of the menstrual cycle. They must first fast the qada, and then after fasting all the qada days, they will be allowed to fast a recommended fast.
Okay, thank you. Can I just ask why Sayyid Sistani mentions the first 6 days of Shawwal in some of the literature? I was just checking now. I remember coming across this in the past, and when he lists.
No, in fact, Sayyid Sistani has his published verdict that fasting the 3 days, I mean, after, the Eid is different among all Muslims. The first of Shawwal is the day of Eid. And then after that, 2nd of Shawwal and 3rd of Shawwal, these 2 days plus the first day of Eid, no fasting. إنها أيام أكل وشرب. In the narration, these days are days of eating and drinking. Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. When comparing the belief of the Shia have about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the Sunni belief about him, how can the Shia claim theirs is better? The Shia often say they have a better belief about the Prophet, more respectful, more loyal, more holy, pure than Sunnis. But what is the evidence, particularly when you don't believe in his best companions?
Simply, if you just go through what the Sunni books of Hadith contain or claim about the Prophet, you will understand what allegations were being put on the Prophet in books like Bukhari, books like Muslim. I'll give you some examples to know that the status of the Prophet, the real status, is as the Shia Muslims believe. And the main Sunni books of Hadith contain things which can never be acceptable regarding the Prophet of Islam. Can you imagine a narration in Bukhari and in Muslim, which is a false narration, no doubt, claiming that the Prophet of Islam used to urinate standingly in the lanes of Medina. كان يبول قائما على سباطة قوم. Of course, it is fabricated and it is a lie, but it is in Bukhari and in Muslim that the Prophet of Islam used to urinate standingly on the road, on a place which belongs to someone else. سباطة قوم. Do you imagine the low standard of a person who standingly urinates, and where? In a place which does not belong to him. That is one example. Another example, a false narration in Bukhari that the Prophet of Islam tried committing suicide many times in Mecca. Whenever Jibreel was to delay coming to the Prophet, God forbid. I mean, I mentioned this false narration just to give you an example about the lies in some main Sunni books about the Prophet, which are more dangerous than the cartoons of Denmark or the people who did something in some magazine in France against the Prophet. Go and see what is in Bukhari and what is in Muslim from the false allegations on the Prophet of Islam. Imagine a prophet trying to commit suicide. And not one time. He tried committing suicide many times. And whenever he started throwing himself from the top of the mountain, the angels used to hold him. What type of state of a man who tries to kill himself? Such false allegation is being put on the Prophet of Islam. Okay. Also, in Bukhari, you find a false narration from Aisha that Prophet of Islam was under the effect of the magic evil done by a Jewish man. And the Prophet of Islam, under the influence of the magic, كان مسحورا. Mashur means under the influence of black magic. And according to the narration, which is false, definitely, that he used to say something that he didn't know and do something which he didn't know. While in Quran, Allah clearly says, وَقَالَ الظَّالِمُونَ إِن تَتَّبِعُونَ إِلَّا رَجُلًا مَسْحُورًا. The wrongdoers claimed that the Prophet was under the influence of black magic. And you come and confirm what the enemies of the Prophet say, and that is in Bukhari. Imagine a prophet who is under influence of black magic saying what he does not understand, doing something which he does not remember later on. What type of prophet? And also you find in Bukhari a narration from Aisha, which is very well-known narration about the start of the prophethood. That when the angel Jibreel came on the Prophet and told him, read. And he said, what shall I read? And then he told him, or he pressed him, فَضَمَّنِي فَغَطَّنِي فَغَطَّنِي. The angel, Jibreel, pressed him very severely. The Prophet came back to his house, to his wife, Khadija, and he was shivering. He was shivering, not knowing what is going on. And she took him to her cousin brother, Waraqa ibn Nawfal, who was a non-Muslim. He was a Christian. And Waraqa ibn Nawfal told him, don't worry, you are a prophet, just imagine a prophet who does not know that he's a prophet. A prophet who needs a Christian man to tell him that you are a prophet. A prophet who's shivering because the angels came and revealed on him the first Quranic verses. These fabricated lies on the prophet are in the main Sunni books of our respected brothers, the Sunni brothers. We don't say that you are responsible of these false narrations, but we definitely say that these narrations are being fabricated and put in your book, and you have to think 100 times before believing every narration in your books of hadith. The real status of the prophet is in the authentic hadith from Ahlebait alayhim salam. As Quran, the prophet is the greatest prophet. The prophet does not say but the truth. وَمَا يَنطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. And the prophet is the person who has the greatest akhlaq. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَىٰ خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. So if you want to compare, you will know how the prophet was being victimized and false allegations were being put on the prophet in false narrations, which are in Bukhari and Muslims and other books of hadith. If you want more details, you can write an email and you will receive a long list of false allegations against the prophet in the books which are now looked at as the main books of hadith among the followers of the other sects away from Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam.
I am from a Syed Shia family and I am beyond the age of marriage. A good non-Syed proposal has come forward from a Pathan family who also have Sayyids within them. The family are pious and the boy himself who have also Sayyids within them. Sadat.
Okay.
So they're not the young man is not Sayyid, but they has family members that are. The family are pious and the boy himself is a doctor and a good Muslim. However, my mother has the mindset that the nikah of a Sayyid girl to a non-Sayyid is invalid and it is as bad as marrying your own mother. How true is this and what do you advise I do?
Astaghfirullah, 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 astaghfirullah. You know, religion is not in our hands. We don't take religion from our culture. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blamed the enemies of the Prophet because they have fabricated religious rules which were not from Allah. Allah in Quran said, Allah amarakum bihada am ala Allahi taftarun. Did Allah order you to do that? Or you are falsely claiming against Allah? Who said that marriage between non-Sayyid man and Sayyid girl is like marrying your mother? From where you brought this great false allegation? Which religion? Which religion? Yes, I know it is from a culture. I know it is a culture in some countries who believe that they should not allow marriage between Sayyid and non-Sayyid, but it is not based on any evidence. You have got the great Ulema who are called the Maraja of Taqleed, who have gone through all the hadiths and the tafsir of all Quranic verses. Okay? Can you ask them? Do you want to ask those who know, or you want to rely on those who don't know? If you want to take the word of those who don't know, that is ignorance and nothing but ignorance. But if you want to ask those who know, there is no single great marja of taqleed who says that marriage between Sayyid and non-Sayyid is haram. See great maraj of taqleed. Ayatollah Khomeini himself, he has given his daughter, who is Saydani, for marriage to a very respected non-Sayyid alim, Sheikh Ishraqi. Ayatollah Muhsin al-Hakim, marja of taqleed of his time, who passed away before more than 60 years back in 1970. Now more than 50 years he passed away. He has given his own daughter, Saydani daughter, his own daughter, for marriage to Sheikh Muhammad Hassan Taha Najaf. Ayatollah al-Uzma Sayyid Gulpaigani in Qom, who passed away before about 30 years back. He has given his own daughter, Saydani daughter, of course, he's a Sayyid, and his own daughter was given for marriage to Sheikh Lutfullah Safi, Sheikh. Then from where you brought this false claim that marriage between Sayyid and non-Sayyid is like marrying your own mother? Tell them to follow Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, and not to follow the atmosphere of your society. Society has got their own concepts, and every society has got their different concepts. Now, you have in some European societies, the marriage between man and his cousin sister is a crime, like you want to marry your own real sister. But does Islam say that? Does Islam accept this claim? Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam was married to Fatima alayhi salam. Fatima is his cousin because she was a daughter of his cousin brother. According to European, some countries' culture, this is not acceptable. But in Islam, it is acceptable. So we don't follow the culture of different countries or different societies. We follow what Allah and Rasul and Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam said. In short, marriage between Muslim man with any Muslim woman is permissible under the conditions, provided that both are compatible and the marriage will not harm their faith or religious practice. No condition at all for marriage that both should be Sayyid. No condition at all that both should be from the same country or same tribe or same ethnic background. No, that is not from the Islamic rules. It might be from cultural backgrounds, but it is not part of religion at all. Yes, please.
Sayyid, I'm mindful that we have lots of questions, but very quickly on this particular issue, what should the sister then do based on the answer you've just given? And how or will this mentality change? Because it sounds quite ingrained, and it's a question that I've come across, that I've put to you maybe for the last 15 years. So will it change? And again, what should the sister in this particular situation do?
The Islamic rules do not change. What is permissible in Islam remains permissible. What is not permissible is not permissible. If someone comes and says, can I get married with my cousin's sister? Islam says, cousin sister? Yes. But you cannot get married with your real aunt. Real aunt? No. Real aunt? Impossible. But cousin sister is permissible. If someone says, can I get married with a person from different country, from different ethnic background? Say, if you are from the subcontinent, are you allowed to marry a person from Africa with same faith in Allah and Rasul and Ahlebait? The answer is yes, you can. We don't have in Islam any condition of equal ethnicity background. No, because we have got many marriages of the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt from different ethnic backgrounds. So the mentality changes when people submit to the will of Allah. There are thousands of persons who are suffering. Not only Sayyid, non-Sayyid. We have got thousands of cases of sufferings, people who suffer because they want to marry, say, a female from Arab family, and she wants to marry a mu'min from Pakistani family. And the rigid mind of the father says, no, I will never allow my daughter to get married to non-Arab, or someone not from my country, being from, say, Iraq or Lebanon or Syria or Egypt or Gulf country. That is un-Islamic. Islam does not put ethnicity or country as a condition. So Islamic rule is there and it is unchangeable. No one can make any matter which is not haram, no one can make it haram. And no one can make any haram act as non-haram or allowed or jaiz. No. Will it end? It is already finished for those who submit to the will of Allah. But those who want to insist on their cultural background and they respect the culture more than respecting the word of Allah and the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt, they will remain with their own wrong thinking. May Allah guide them. May Allah guide us and guide all the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam.
Okay, thank you. I am a cab driver. Sometimes I have to pick up and drop people to pubs and back home. Am I allowed?
Dropping people from the pub back home for you as a cab driver is permissible, but don't take them from office or home to the pub. Don't help them to go to a wrong place. If you know that this person is going to go to a place to do wrong, like drinking alcohol, or a place where they take drugs or do anything wrong, don't help anyone to do wrong. But to take him back home, that is permissible.
But presumably, if you're taking somebody to a pub or any of these types of places, you don't necessarily know what their intention is. Mathalan, they may not be intending to drink, or I don't know, they're going for a meal, not necessarily to go and drink alcohol. So under such circumstances, would it be okay or not?
You see, if you are not sure, if you were being asked to drop someone to a place which has got food and alcohol, so it is possible that they're going to eat. Okay, that is permissible. I said, if you are sure that they are going only and only to do wrong, then don't help anyone to do wrong.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Next question. If someone lives far from the mosque and cannot do ghusl early on Friday, in that situation, can one do ghusl for Jum'ah on Thursday? Can ghusl be done anytime on Thursday, and what niyat can one make?
Ghusl of Jum'ah is the most important ghusl in Islam among all the recommended ghusls. In the past, we had ulama who said that the ghusl of Jum'ah is obligatory. But our present maraja of taqleed don't say that is obligatory, but it is highly recommended. And we have got a lot of authentic hadiths about performing ghusl of Jum'ah. Because of the importance of ghusl of Jum'ah, there is many rules about it. Number one, the time of it is from the Fajr of Friday till the midday. That is on one opinion. And on other opinion, it is from Fajr of Jum'ah till the sunset of Friday. Then, if you know that you will not be able, means if you know before that, for example, Friday, you will be traveling and you'll be at the airport or in the airplane or in the train, and you will not have chance to perform ghusl, you can perform ghusl of Jum'ah before time on Thursday, not Wednesday, not Tuesday, no, Thursday. Ghusl of Jum'ah can be performed before time for those who know that they will not be able to perform it on Friday. From which time? From Fajr of Thursday onward. From Fajr of Thursday onward. That also is permissible to perform ghusl of Jum'ah before Friday. If you could not perform ghusl of Jum'ah on Friday, you can perform it after Friday. Means the time of it ends on the sunset of Friday, and you didn't get chance. After sunset, you can perform the ghusl whole night, and next day, which is Saturday, and the niyat will be qada. Qada of ghusl of Jum'ah can be performed on Saturday till sunset of Saturday. When the sunset of Saturday comes, then the chapter is closed. No qada for ghusl al-Jumu'ah. Yes, please.
Okay, I am a diabetic and I'm on 2,000 milligrams of metformin daily. I've spoken to the GP practice nurse and they said we cannot advise to fast or not to fast, but they said if your sugar level falls, then there will be a problem. There's no question here, but I guess the person who wrote this is asking
the question of fasting when you have got a medical condition. Let me tell you, my respected brother or sister, that millions of Muslims who are diabetic are fasting. In fact, many of them and many doctors have said that it is good for the diabetic to fast. fasting helps many diabetic patients to control the level of the sugar in their blood. So no one can tell you you should not fast because you are diabetic. No, we don't say that at all. We say that you should fast as far as fasting is possible and does not harm your health. If you discover that fasting really harms you, then don't fast. But again, I say that there are millions of diabetic Muslims who fast, and many of them feel much better during fasting. In fact, one of the benefits of fasting is to be more healthy. The hadith says, "Sumu tasahhu," means when you fast, you'll be more healthy. Yes, please.
Okay, in Iceland, circumcision was banned as barbaric and not necessary. Is it barbaric and is it essential in Islam?
In Iceland?
That's what it says here. Iceland, the country Iceland.
A country. So for them, circumcision is not good, not permissible. Is it by law or what?
I don't know. I'll read it again. It says, in Iceland, circumcision was banned as barbaric and not necessary. Is it barbaric and is it essential in Islam?
Circumcision for males is necessary in Islam. For males, maybe the people who put this question mean something different. In fact, many non-Muslim doctors, non-Muslim medical scientists, they clearly say and clearly write that circumcision is very, very healthy for every male, every man. And that is mentioned in many medical books. So circumcision in Islam for males is obligatory on every male. If any non-Muslim man becomes a Muslim, it becomes obligatory on him to get himself circumcised. Circumcision is not barbaric at all. The barbaric is something different, not circumcision of males. They say that circumcision for females. In Islam, we don't have circumcision for females. Circumcision for females is a cultural practice in some countries. We go back to the culture. In some countries, in some places, they do some circumcision for females, which is not in Islam at all. Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Please, could you give the Quranic reference about the birth of Bibi Hawa? Hawa, was she born from the rib of Hazrat Adam alayhi salam?
The claim that the lady Hawa was created from a rib from Adam came from non-Muslims. And from the non-Muslims, some Muslims took it because, you know, we have got a problem in our Muslim history that the government which ruled over Muslims from Saqifa onward, who were away from Ahlul Bayt. In one side, they did not allow Ahlul Bayt to teach people the real Islam, and they banned the hadith of the Prophet, and many of them have burnt the hadiths written. On the other side, they gave chance to the so-called new Muslims who came from Christianity or Judaism to be the religious authorized person, like Ka'b al-Ahbar and others. So many fabricated stories came from non-Muslims into the books of Muslims. One of them, this claim that Adam, one of the ribs of Adam, Hawa, was created from that rib, which is false, which is a lie. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam, who is the sixth Imam from Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, was being asked the same question. And the person told him, people say that Hawa was created from a rib from Adam. Imam refuted this lie and said, did Allah, was Allah unable to create Hawa, but only by taking a rib from Adam? No, that is a lie. That is a lie. Allah created Hawa as a human being as Allah created Adam, not as rib from Adam. Hawa is a full human being, not from a rib, one rib. You know, Adam had many ribs and many organs. That is completely false allegation. It came from non-Muslims in the books of non-Muslims. So this claim is false. Adam was created by Allah as a full human being, and Hawa was created by Allah as a full human being as well, not from a rib from Adam. Allah says, وَخَلَقَ مِنْهَا زَوْجَهَا. It means Allah created the wife of Adam like Adam, a human. Minha means from same type, not different type of being. Allah didn't create Hawa as a different being. No. Minha means like Adam. Allah created Hawa like Adam, from the same nature of creature, human being like Adam, not from a rib from Adam. Yes.
Are we allowed to eat food from Hindu?
Are we allowed to eat food from non-Muslims? The answer is this. Muslim is allowed to eat any food which is tahir. Tahir means pure. And we are not allowed to eat any food which is najis, impure, being from anyone. If a Muslim gives you a najis food, say food contaminated by blood or any najis item, can you eat it? No, because it is najis. Najis food is not permissible for consumption of human beings. If you take food from non-Muslim, number one, does the food contain meat or any ingredient from any animal? if it contains any animal ingredient, we are not allowed to eat, but only from halal animal, only halal. Muslims are not allowed to consume any animal ingredient from non-halal animal. If the food does not contain any meat ingredient, say vegetarian food. Vegetarian food, does it contain alcohol? Then it is not permissible. No alcohol? Okay. While preparing the food, was the food being touched with hands, without gloves, directly touched, or it was being prepared without touching it? Nowadays, in the big factories of food, they make lot of meals without touching it. They bring the vegetables or fruits and they put it in, the factories, they put water on it, a huge quantity of water, they wash it and prepare it. The food comes to you without being touched directly by anybody's hand. This is not najis, because it was not being touched by direct hand or anybody touching it. So such food is permissible to be consumed. If you know from the procedure of preparing the food that it was being touched by a mushrik, not any non-Muslim, no, because according to many of the maraj of taqleed, Ahlul Kitab can be considered tahir. But if you are sure that the food was being touched while preparing it by a mushrik with wet hands, or the food was wet and was touched by a mushrik, then we don't eat it. Yes, please.
Okay, just a few minutes left. I'd like to know if I can hold the Quran to read any surah during mustahab salah. I was told I cannot hold the book during wajib salah. Is this correct?
Number one, holding the Quran while performing salah and reading from it is permissible in wajib and mustahab salah. Some people nowadays hold their mobile. They hold the mobile and read from it Quranic long surahs. Yes, it is permissible. It is permissible to hold and read from a book or from your mobile. It is permissible in obligatory salah and in mustahab salah as well.
Why do we recite 2 rakat namaz after ziyarat waritha and ashura? Is it compulsory?
Reciting namaz ziyarat, salat az-ziyarah, is recommended. It is a gift from you to the imam. Gift from you to the imam who does not need it, but we need it. When you gift something to the imam, you will receive from the imam greater and greater gifts. So we recite 2 rakat of salat az-ziyarah after the ziyarah of any imam. It is not obligatory, but highly recommended, and we get back greater gifts from Imam alayhi salam after gifting to him the reward of the 2 rak'at of salat al-ziyarah.
Can I do the same if, for example, let's say I was blessed to go to Syria and obviously when we say ziyarah, we don't have to go physically to the dari. But if I were blessed to go to the ziyarah of Lady Zainab in Sham, and I recite the ziyarah there, would be allowed to recite the 2 rakat salat for her as well?
Yes, of course. I don't say you can. No, it is more than can. It is recommended. Whenever you do ziyarah, either you go there or you do ziyarah, recite ziyarah from far, from your home, for any of the noble servants of Allah, being the Imams, alayhim salam, or Lady Zainab, or Janab Muslim bin Aqil, or Al-Abbas alayhi salam, Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam, or Janab al-Baneen alayhi salam, any of the pious personalities. When you do ziyarat from far or near, it is recommended to pray 2 rakat salah of ziyarah and give the thawab to them. You will get back thousands of multiplications of gifts from them.
Okay, thank you very much. We have just under a minute, Syed, now.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. We need to pray to Allah. Ya Rabb al-Alameen, we all seek your forgiveness. We all seek your mercy. Whatever bad deeds we committed, your mercy is greater than our bad deeds. Your mercy is much greater than our mistakes and faults, and we hope that you include us in your forgiveness and mercy, we and our parents and families and all the lovers of Ahlebait alayhim assalam. Not that we are entitled, but because you are the Arhamur Rahimeen, and we hope and we seek your mercy and your rahmah and your grace, Ya Arhamur Rahimeen. If we were not entitled to gain the forgiveness in the previous or in the month of Sha'ban, we seek and beg to you, Ya Rabb al-Alameen, to forgive us in the remaining days of the month of Sha'ban. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil فرج محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.
Santum, thank you very much indeed, sir. Now, thank you to all of our viewers. Apologies if your questions were not answered.